What if I told you that a window could go from crystal clear to totally private with just the flick of a switch? Or maybe a sunroof that can tint itself on a really bright day? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but this technology is very real, and believe me, it's already changing the way we see the world. Just look at this. On the left, you've got a perfectly clear glass wall. And on the right, that same wall is now completely opaque. Instant privacy. No curtains, no blinds, nothing. So how is this even possible? Well, it's not magic. It's an incredible technology called smart glass. All right, let's pull back the curtain on this so-called magic. First up, we're going to break down what this tech actually is and why it's becoming such a huge deal for our homes, our cars, and even our offices. So at its core, smart glass, and you might hear it called switchable glass or dynamic glass, is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a special kind of glass that can actually change how much light gets through it. And that change is triggered by some kind of outside signal, which is usually electricity, but it can also be heat or light. But why is this so important? I mean, what's the big deal? Well, it's way more than just a cool party trick. Smart glass can seriously cut down on a building's energy bill by smartly managing the sunlight that comes in. It gives you privacy on demand, blocks almost all of those damaging UV rays, and yeah, it could make old-fashioned blinds and curtains totally obsolete. We're talking about creating buildings that are truly adaptive. Okay, so how does it all actually work? Well, it turns out there isn't just one way to do it. The technology really splits into two main camps. You've got active tech and you've got passive tech. Let's see what that really means. The biggest difference really comes down to control. Active technology is something you control yourself. You flip a switch, you tap a button on an app. Passive technology, on the other hand, is completely automatic. It just reacts all by itself. Probably the best example is those photochromic sunglasses that get darker when you walk outside. Same idea. Thermochromic glass can tint itself when it gets hot. Now, we're mostly going to focus on the active tech today, but this passive route is really key for creating buildings that can respond to the weather without anyone having to lift a finger. So for the rest of this explainer, we're going to zero in on the active, electrically controlled types of smart glass, just because they're the most common and they're incredibly versatile. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how you can literally switch glass on and off. First on our list is polymer dispersed liquid crystal, or PDLC. This is the one you're going to see most often for that on-demand privacy, in fancy conference rooms or high-tech bathrooms. So how does it do it? Okay, imagine a chaotic jumble of liquid crystals just floating around randomly inside a thin film. When the power's off, they scatter light in every direction, which gives the glass that frosted milky white look. But the second you hit it with an electric current, it's like a drill sergeant blows a whistle, all those crystals instantly snap into these neat, perfectly straight lines, which lets light pass right through. The big pro here is that it's super fast and simple, but it's basically just an on or off switch, either clear or private. Next up, we have something called suspended particle devices, or SPD. Now, unlike PLC's simple on or off deal, SPD technology actually lets you fine-tune the level of tint. Think of it like a dimmer switch for your window. For this one, picture a cloud of microscopic particles just suspended in a liquid. With no electricity, they're all just floating around randomly, absorbing light and making the glass look dark. But as you start to apply and then increase the voltage, these little particles start lining themselves up more and more, creating a clearer and clearer path for light to get through. This gives you amazing control over the tint, but the catch is, it needs constant power to stay clear. Now, this third technology is, frankly, maybe the most incredible from a pure engineering standpoint. It's called microblinds, and yep, it works exactly how you think it does. And this image right here just shows you how wild this is. What you're looking at are actual physical metal blinds, but they are so ridiculously small that they are completely invisible to the naked eye. When you apply a voltage, these microscopic blinds literally unroll to block the light. And the switching speed is crazy fast. We're talking milliseconds. That's its killer feature. So now that we've got a handle on the science, let's take a look at where you can actually find this futuristic technology out in the wild today. This table does a really great job of summing up the key differences. You can see PDLC turns transparent with power, while microblinds do the opposite. But there's another major type here you'll see a lot called electrochromic. What makes it so special is that it only needs a quick jolt of power to change its state, say from clear to tinted, and then it just holds that new state without using any more electricity. That memory feature makes it absolutely fantastic for saving energy. A perfect example is on Germany's ICE3 high-speed trains. They use that PDLC technology. So normally, passengers can see right into the driver's cab. But if the driver needs some privacy, they just flick a switch, and that glass panel instantly frosts over. Pretty cool, right? And honestly, it's starting to show up everywhere. The dimmable windows on the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, that's that energy-saving electrochromic tech. The huge sunroof on the VW ID.7 uses PDLC for instant shade. And you've probably seen those famous public toilets in Tokyo. They also use PDLC, so you can see if a stall's empty from the outside, but the second you lock the door, the glass turns opaque. It's in observation decks, elevators, and even in designs for NASA's next spacecraft. All right, let's wrap this up and look ahead. What does all this innovation really mean for the spaces we live and work in every single day? So, this is the really crucial point. The technology is evolving. It's moving from something we have to manually control to something that's genuinely intelligent and adaptive. Soon, our windows will be able to react to the environment all on their own, optimizing our comfort and our energy use without us ever having to touch a thing. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As our homes and our buildings get smarter and smarter, are we witnessing the beginning of the end for curtains and blinds? I mean, will the whole idea of physically covering a window one day seem as outdated as a rotary phone? The future, it seems, is looking very clear indeed.